So, honestly, this might be a short review because it might be a short one because it wasn't a whole lot to this episode. I mean, the only saving grace for this whole episode to me was Tracy. That's the only light of this episode. I mean, that's the only shit that made me laugh. Um, I love me some Tracy. Listen, Jane Elliott needs to be back on this show permanently because I love Tracy because one of the things I love about her. She don't give a damn. She does not mince words. She says things, without thinking, and she just says what's on her mind at the most inopportune moments. You know what I mean? And I love that about her. She don't give a damn. She gonna say what she gotta say. And I totally agree with her. Since when do the Quartermains just allow anybody to walk into that house like that? It's like any and everybody has an invitation just to walk on up in that shit. I'm like, no. You know what I mean? She didn't even know who the hell Jocelyn was. Everybody was like, she was at the wedding. She was like, okay, her hair was different. I love Tracy. Oh my goodness, I love her. Um, I totally agree. It's like she was looking at Jocelyn and Dex like, okay, what the hell are y'all doing here? Nobody, Josh sitting there. Well, we're leaving soon. We're just. She was like, okay, you weren't invited. Like, get out. Then when she found out Dex worked for Sunny, she was like, oh God. I agree with her. She was like, since when we started letting Sunny employees walk up in this house like this? I totally agree. Like, she keeps a foot on everybody's neck. I love it. You know, Olivia and all them trying to sit there and sing Sunny praises and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I do agree. People shouldn't just be coming in and out of the mansion whenever they want to come in and out the mansion. It's like y'all got too many interlopers up in that house. Olivia was pissing me off. Her and BLQ was really getting on my nerves the way that they was coming at Ned. All that shrieking every 5 seconds. I'm like, my thing is, as a spouse, when in public, you should have your spouse's back in public. Now, in private, if you got an issue with your spouse, talk to them about that in private. But I just feel like Olivia does things so wrong. It's like, why would you confront your husband in front of people? That's a private conversation for you and your husband. And it's like, my thing is, she never gives Ned the benefit of the doubt. She always on everybody else's side except Ned's. Like, if I was Ned at this point, I would file for divorce. I would send her ass back to Bensonhurst somewhere packing because I wouldn't put up with that nonsense. This man looked them dead in the face and said, listen, I didn't do this. Oh, well, you chose Valentine's side, so we can't really trust you. So what if he chose Valentine's side? He chose Valentine's side because that was business. I'm tired of everybody just blaming all of this on him without no proof. They're just assuming it was him. Like, you have to ask yourself, what does he have to gain by doing this? He's already the chairman of ELQ. He has what he wants. So for Sam and everybody sit there and say, oh, he don't care nothing about nobody except for ELQ. That's all he care about. That's a lie. Like, if I was Ned, honestly, when the truth comes out that he had nothing to do with that phone call, I would tell everybody that doubted me. If I was him, I would tell them to kiss my ass and go to hell. That's what I would do. Because my thing is, if he made an anonymous phone call, if I was him, I would show them my call log. I would get the phone records. I'd be like, look around. Do you see if I called? Like, come on now. Like, he's looking everybody in the face telling them he didn't do it. And they still all doubting him. His wife, his daughter, like, damn near everybody in town think he did it. And I'm like, it's so ridiculous. Hell, even Tracy was like, oh, he did it. Tracy ain't give a damn. She was like, he did it. I'm like, Tracy, come on now. That shit was hilarious. But it's just so ridiculous. It's like, come on now. What does he have to gain from doing this? He already got ELQ. And I agree with him. It's like, if he did this, it would be stupid on his part because it could have a negative impact on ELQ. You know what I mean? Like, duh. So why would he do it? So I'm glad that Sam and Dante at least put on their thinking caps and started thinking maybe Ned did, maybe he didn't do it, but who else would have? I'm like, duh, think. The hell would he do it for? Like, I would be so offended if I was him because it's like, you really think he's that low down to do something like that during that time? Like, come on now. And Olivia, she was just so aggravating. Talking about, oh, he's starting to turn into Edward, bringing up all of Edward's past and stuff like that. I'm like, she didn't even know Edward like that. So if I was Tracy and everybody else, I would have told her, listen, don't speak on him like that. Like, don't speak on somebody that you didn't even know, because Olivia didn't even know Edward like that. I don't even think she barely shared a scene with him. Like, I used to be able to tolerate Olivia, but nowadays it's like she's become unbearable. Like, what type of shrew of a wife is she? Like, that's all she became, is a shrew of a wife. Like, ugh, just to sit there and blame this man is just so ridiculous. Um, and Drew coming into the house with that weak ass punch. I'm like, sir, where was all this masculine energy in Greenland? Where was all this? Because you ain't do shit. He didn't do nothing. So you want to come in the house all buffed up, angry, and punching people in the face. I would have had his ass locked up for assault. Just to be petty. I would have had him locked up. Like, sir, go sit down somewhere. Hopefully the feds lock him up. I hope so. And what people gotta realize is, I'm like, it's so funny to me how everybody want to blame whoever snitched to the feds on Carly and Drew. But I'm glad Tracy put it out there. She was like, everybody sitting here worried about who called the feds or whatever. But at the end of the day, Carly and Drew are actually guilty of what they were accused of. You know what I'm saying? That's the big point everybody seems to be missing. They're guilty. It doesn't really matter who tipped off the SEC. It's not like somebody framed them or they were lying. They're guilty. I just feel like people are just trying to give Carly and Drew a pass. You know what I mean? But yet they get to call everybody else out for their guilt of doing things. Like, everybody want to come at Sonny and all this, that, and the third. But yet, no, Carly and Drew get absolved of their wrongdoing. Like, no, forget, no, freak that. They need to go down for what they did. I mean, I don't see them going to prison. Honestly, I don't. I think that they're going to find a way out of this mess. I really don't see them going to prison. But there have been characters that went to prison and weren't written out of the show. I mean, come on, Alexis had a stint in prison. Spencer had a stint in prison. Sonny had a stint in prison. I think Sam even went to prison at one point, didn't she? But you know, it's been characters that went to prison, but you know, of course, they found a way to get them out. So I wouldn't be mad if Carly and Drew went to prison for a little minute. Please, them big girls to get a hold of Carly, it'd be a wrap. Especially a little pretty boy like Drew being up in prison, he wouldn't last. Once them lights go out, he gonna be up in there fighting for his virginity. I'm just saying. But yeah, and you know what irritated me? Here go Lisa and everybody patting Drew on the back and him standing there at the hospital all smug, like he actually did something. Oh, Drew saved me. He brought me back. Drew ain't do nothing. Drew didn't do nothing. All he may have done was punch one guard. I'm like, Curtis and Laura and everybody else, Valentine, they all did something. Drew ain't do a thing. I was afraid that this was going to happen. I was afraid Drew was going to get all the credit for this. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. That man didn't do nothing but stand there with that goofy look on his damn face. That's all he did. But he getting praised as a hero. Give me a damn break. I hope the feds break their foot off in his ass. I really do. I hope so. Getting all this praise for something you ain't. Sir, please. Miss me with that nonsense. I was so disappointed to watch Nina sit there and beg and plead with Carl. Oh, I'm so sorry for blaming you. It was my fault that me and Willow don't get along. I'm like, girl, I'm glad that you taking some responsibility, but I feel like the only reason you taking accountability for that is because you need Carly to do something. Because if it wasn't for that, she would still be harping on that. Oh, well, you are the reason. And please. I'm like, Nina, stop begging. Stop begging. I'm like, hell must have froze over. Like, you that desperate for a relationship, a connection to Willow, that you willing to go to Carly and apologize and beg her to help you? Like, that's an all-time low. I'm sorry, but you done hit rock bottom be doing all that nonsense. Because it wouldn't have been me. I'm just saying, it wouldn't have been me. All that begging and pleading. You miss me with that nonsense. So anyway, am I in the Twilight Zone or something? Because I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone watching this episode. Because I could have sworn something was off. I don't know if they have an issue with continuity on this show, but something was bugging at me, and I'm like, I know I'm not bugging the fuck out, but when Dex and Jocelyn were talking, and they were talking about finally being able to be in public, I'm like, be in public? Y'all could have been in public. Jocelyn, nobody cares about your relationship but you. Nobody cares. But Dex was sitting there telling her everything that Sonny had said to him about the whole romance police thing and how, he gave praise to Dex for saving his life and how he not the romance police. And Jocelyn sitting there talking about, oh, Sonny said that? I'm like, am I bugging out? But I'm like, Jocelyn, your ass was standing right next to Dex when Sonny said all of this. Like, where your ear is not working that day? Because I'm like, I could have sworn it was at the nurse's ball. Sonny saw y'all, came out, and asked you if your mama knew, and this, that, and the third. So I'm like, why are you acting like this the first time you're hearing this? Like, you were there when Sonny said it. Like, what? I was like, I know I'm not bugging out. Like, why is he recounting all of this stuff that happened when she was standing there when it happened? I'm like, so I'm glad he did call her out about that, though. Asking for his help to bring the kids to the hospital and stuff like that, trying to put on a little show for the family and everybody else that they officially are public and they're dating or whatever. And I'm like, Jocelyn, why do you keep trying to get people to care about this stupid ass relationship so much? Because I'm like, girl, don't nobody care about this mess but you. You are the only one who cares about this dumb shit. Nobody cares. Like, who really gives a crap? So anyway, moving on from that, I feel bad for Diane. I really do. I feel bad for her because you could tell like she really liked Robert, and Robert likes her, and he wants to see where things can go. But as long as Holly is in town, that's gonna be a problem. And I felt bad that she walked in and saw them kissing. I really did. But my thing with Holly is that I don't see her and Robert getting back together. I don't see it because Holly doesn't live in Port Charles full time. Robert has built a life in Port Charles, like he's the DA, you know what I mean? Like he has roots in that town now, you know what I mean? Like he's settled down there. So I don't know how a reunion between the two is going to work because Holly doesn't stick around long enough for a cup of coffee in that town. So how is that going to work? But I feel like at this point, once Diane walked in and saw them kissing, I think Diane just needs to take a step back from her feelings towards him and let him figure out what's going to happen between him and Holly before he can pursue anything with Diane. Because I don't really want to see Diane hurt. I love me some Diane. And the last thing I want to see is her get her heart broken and stuff like that. That'd be a tragedy. So Robert need to get his stuff together and figure out, like, is it Holly that you want? Is it Diane that you want? Like, who do you see a future with right now? You know what I mean? Like, who do you want more? What do you want? You know what I mean? So I think he needs to figure that out before he can pursue anything. Before he can, make that commitment to anybody. He needs to figure out which one he wants. So anyway, Willow and Michael, they were a part of the episode. I didn't care. She was in isolation. I didn't care. Apparently, she's still clinging to life. I don't care. I don't care. So anyway, that was pretty much the whole episode because Michael and Willow were just there. So ain't no need to talk about them. Anyway, hit the comment section. Let me know what you all thought, and I will see you all later. Oh, look at that. This video is actually longer than I thought because I thought this video was only going to be about 5 minutes, but I guess. Anyway, I will see y'all all later. Have a good night. Peace.